or Instagram contents is all about helping other people and inspiring other people so they can help other people. So there was a couple of questions already in the parking lot, so I think it's more fair we go with this one. So T, you have been asking a question about personal branding. Please go on.
Well, the thing is, like, it was actually more to provoke a discussion because we talk about what you should do about content, and then we should talk about how you can go on the different channels and we can go to market or whatever. We didn't talk about the why. Just because it's easy, just because other people do it. It's the same thing, like as you said, you regret this because the other people are rich now. So is it the why and then the financial gain in terms of what we regret? Is that the mistake? How we define the mistake? So my question really is, because I put myself also out on the LinkedIn sphere, and I know my why, but I don't know whether it's really the right thing to say, hey, this is how you can do personal branding to people who don't know whether why.
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing up this question actually. So that is why I've been telling you the very first thing you need to work on the strategy. If you don't have the strategy, I mean your
strategy and purpose are two different things.
Yeah. So you cannot build a strategy without knowing why. I mean, if you're building a strategy without knowing why, you are not going anywhere.
Yes.
You are just going. you're just digging your one hole and just going down without just hustling. If you're doing a hustling, you need to know. Yeah. Oh, so what's your why? Yeah.
Like my why.
Yeah.
On LinkedIn. But when people ask me, hey T, how you do that? I know it's maybe confidential, maybe you cannot do this, and I say, you know what? Then I invest the time and share with these people on a sandbox where it is unconfidential, and I invest my time in that because other people apparently genuinely care. So that's the thing.
So that's a very good point about it. You have to do your why as well. So for my why is my why. It could be very different than other people's why, but you need to have your own why. It's very much important. So my why is about I just want to inspire other people to help other people. So that's one of the key reasons I share the thing, helping other people. And so if you look at my Facebook contents or Instagram contents, it's all about helping other people and inspiring other people so they can help other people, so you can build a good community as well too. But if you look at my LinkedIn, it's quite different. It's about in this one is about working with other professionals and helping them to solve any particular problem around the digital transformations or technology implementations or leaderships. These are the three things I really focus when it comes to LinkedIn platform. So and when it comes to YouTube, I have a different why as well too. So it depends. You have to have a strategy, right? Without having and knowing why, you will not be never having a strategy. So what the problem you want to do? So that's something it's really great is about why do you really like the Apple's ad compared to other product ad? Because Apple always start with why. So let's say about if you want to buy a great laptop from another company, they will say, okay, this amount of processor, this amount of RAM, this amount of design, and the price tag is $500. Want to buy it? But when it comes to Apple, they start with this one. We have been spending years of time of innovating the design because we are highly passionate about it, and we have been doing this testing again and again because we want to bring the great product for our users to solve and create a great user experience. And this is our iPhone, which is and because we dreamed about reinventing.
In fact, I was to mention that I invite anyone to go to see the video of the launch of the first iPhone.
Yeah.
Because it's a long, it was 1 hour and something, but
I did too.
The 15 minutes initially, or 20 minutes is really something that you learn about.
Yeah.
You really understand, when you see that, you really understand why they are so powerful. And this is all about that.
So I had a chance to sit down in some of those meetings on Apple teams in regional and also Windows team as well too. So this is something I have figured out. I'm not against any one of them. So which is not Apple in the company, they always talked about a bigger part of their executions in the executive meeting was talking about their competitor. But in Apple, they've been always talking about themselves, how we can get better, how we can improve our own design. They weren't battling about themselves. So it's so much important that you know your why. So you're spot on that one. I'm so happy that you have already found your why and you're adding value to your conviction. So
May I share something?
sure.
Yes, sure.
I think we're quite similar in a way. So first I'll start with a study, very long study by Harvard University, where they talk about what brings people happiness in life, right? It's like scientific study, not like a motivational speech. And they find out that people who are the most happy at the end of their life are people who have very meaningful relationships. And I would suggest that we all start from there. I think networking for me is not about looking for a new job, earning more money, or having more opportunity. It's actually a result of that. So when you do good networking, you still have more opportunity, but you shouldn't start from like, oh, I start networking because I want more opportunity, want more money. You start with like building really good relationship with your people you work with, people who potentially you will work with. And I find it's very interesting. Even in my professional networking, I've gained so many good friends and become like personal good friends in my personal life who know about everything about my life as well. And there's another study saying that when you add a good friend in your life, your happiness level increases 15%. So to me, like when I was younger, yeah, I was more kind of ambitious in terms of materialistic gain. But after a while, I don't care about that anymore. It's just when you see the value you can bring to people and the happiness you can bring to them, it's changed your perspective a lot. And the why actually eventually all of us, I guess, will eventually come to that meaningful closeness of relationship that we build in our life. For example, like a while ago I met a young entrepreneur. She's just starting on her new company, and I connected her to some investor, and she said, "Oh my God, I've been doing this for so long, and I couldn't find any good investor. You believe in me, thank you so much." So it's like that kind of thing is so much more valuable to me than just gaining something. Of course, you will gain something. Definitely, when you do good networking, you will gain something for sure. But don't chase that. Chase.
Yeah, but
yeah.
Fully agree with you. I was remembering a recent experience, and it's really when you share something, you win something.
Yeah.
There was one young guy from India. I've never met him before in my life. They decided to connect me with him. I accepted, and the guy was brave enough to ask me to talk back with him. He wants some advice to go for doing MBA. So I never met him before. So it was really, I said, okay, he's brave enough that I gave him some time. Yeah. So we had the first call. In fact, finally we had several coach calls, and it was really a pleasure for me to help him in his decision process. Do I get something? Am I expecting something for that? No, just a pleasure to help him. But it was really something that fulfilled me with a very good feeling, because I was helping someone with, there is no any, let's say, hidden purpose of that. It just help.
Thank you. So we're going to continue the Q&A. So please, before you're raising your question, please put your name and just one line what you're doing, and then bring the question. So there is another question over there, please.
My name is Lei. So I want to ask a question related to the platform. John mentioned that you choose the perfect platform to promote yourself. So is there any perfect platform? Because I mean promoting myself on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook, of course. But I don't know. So I think that for particular platform, you do have your strategy with it, right? So yeah.
Thank you for the question. So I want to start with this one. Nothing is perfect in the world. Nothing is perfect. I'm not perfect. No one is perfect. So there is no perfect platform. Also doesn't exist as well too. But what we have to have some kind of strategy. So you already know your why you're doing it, right? What is the purpose of doing that one? And then you can have your strategy. So when you want to build your strategy, there are a few things I want to talk about. So if your why is about you want to sell more product as a business development, so then you have to pick the right platforms where you have more things. Let's say you want to do a B2C more product. So in this case, maybe you have to focus more about Facebook, because Facebook is much more convenient for doing B2B sales. But if you want to do for B2B business and you want to do B2B sales, then you have to think about LinkedIn probably. And the thing is, Facebook is already overused platform because a lot of content is coming into it and organic reach already goes down. But however, this is much more convenient for building your B2C sales and more social connection. But when you go to LinkedIn, it has actually more bigger gain because it has a lot more organic reach compared to Facebook. So it's gonna be things. So that's why I'm saying this one, there's no perfect platform. Think about what you want to accomplish, what is your purpose, and then build your strategy into it. And then, don't forget this thing which I mentioned about it too. It's about what you're really good at it. If you are, your content need to be focused about what you're really good at it. So if you're great at speaking, making videos, long videos, then you probably focus about YouTube as well and post the video in YouTube and then bring that content also in LinkedIn as well if you're doing also B2C as well too. And then if you're good at writing, then you start writing into it and you can post in the LinkedIn as well too. If you're making, you're great at making small videos, then you could think about Instagram stories and Instagram posts as well too. And Instagram dropped their organic reach significantly 4 months ago, but still it has a lot of reach. But I want to tell you one thing again, that do not just think about platforms, but also you need to have a real life interaction with the people as well too. So you cannot build your whole personal branding only based on your platform, but also you need to have an offline interaction as well too, and build a personal brand.
Yeah, that's a great point because I want to bring up here also the how to not to be falling in the trap between your character, things you build on the internet and the real you.
Yeah.
Because it's much more comfortable to doing online. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't expose apparently you expose yourself less. It's more easy to answer an email than answer a phone call.
Sure, yeah.
So-
Not to be
So
falling
with
in
this
that.
one, I actually, I just want to refer to this one. So I know that why people, when you start to the online thing, they actually come deep dive inside insecurity. People try to pretend to someone else, which they actually not. They wear clothes which they don't wear. They try to pick up some accent or wear what are the things which they are not. Go to other places which is not belong to them as well too. And those are all coming from insecurity. So that's why I mentioned about 3 things. When you're making content, be honest, be authentic, and be passionate about it. So don't fake it. There is a lot of way of people say fake it until you make it. I mean that could be very counterproductive if you are making content into it, because at the end of the day, your personal branding is not a 1, 2, or 3 months of time. It takes years to build it up. It's a long-term game, and you have to have a macro passions and micro actions to build this one. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, in my work, we study different platforms so we can grow as a business as well. And in general, for LinkedIn, it's good for you to know personal brand than a business brand because they don't prioritize business brand on LinkedIn. You see that maybe someone with like hundreds of thousands of followers, but the interaction on the post is slow on LinkedIn. But if you see a personal account, right now they are actually prioritize personal account interaction. So if you know that, and you know that they also prioritize native content, that means the content that is native on the platform. It's not a link to somewhere, or link to Facebook, or link to YouTube. Then you see the interaction is much better when you do native content. So for each platform, we do native content for that platform. But earlier we talked about making content is so difficult, right? And so you still have to have a mix of your own native content when you own the thought leadership, and then you have content where you make comment about what you think about it. So LinkedIn, great for professional networking. I mean, if you want to build a professional network, that's the number one. Instagram is a different game. It's more lifestyle things that it's because it's made for that purpose, lifestyle things that looks good. So Instagram, if you have like a hobby, you want to build like a brand for you are known for maybe the person.
Traveler example.
Yeah,
You love traveling. Yeah, you take a lot of
Instagram,
photos.
but
Yeah.
you don't post all the travel photos on LinkedIn. It looks
Yeah.
like unprofessional.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
seriously. So I do have an Instagram blog and I write poetry and I just post my poetry and I just like short poems. And I started a few months ago and I have 3,000 followers now. I mean, most of them I don't even know. They're from India and US. And, I have no idea, but just use a platform to grow that. And people don't see on my LinkedIn and on my Instagram, but I just post my all of my poems. And then Facebook is a game where they encourage, like nowadays the algorithm is more on authentic connection, where you actually should know the person. You don't just add in as someone, you should know the person and have the interaction in your social network. So different platform is built for different things. But one common theme is like always prioritize native content. So
Yeah, so most of the people make this common mistake. They try to make one content and try to just shoot it to every possible platform.
Yeah.
So that is one of the worst way you can treat your own content. It's not possible. I mean, if you have a phone, it can only can go to the pocket. But if you try to put a surface in your pocket, it's not going to work, right? So the different platform has different angle and space. So you really need to have a personal content. So it's a lot of work to be done if you want to go multi-platform. So have someone to help you in this one if you don't have time. Or you can start with one platform, yeah.
And when do it properly.
Yeah.
Better do it less and well done.
Yeah.
Than try to do
Just
many.
keep trying it
Actually,
and
I love there's a company account that say crafts on LinkedIn. So they post this weird post on LinkedIn. So for example, one of the current posts is like, oh, yesterday I went to an interview and then I was trying to be on time, but then I missed this dog who's being injured on the side of the road, and then so I stopped and I accept to be late so I can help the dog. And then later I turn up in the interview and the interviewer is a dog. So that kind of thing. It's just like so much crap that people post that it's not appropriate for the platform. For example, LinkedIn should be more about professional networking, less about your hobby and whatever you do for vacations and what you eat for dinner, right? But you can have vacation photos and what you eat for dinner on Instagram and Facebook is fine.
Yeah, I have been seeing for you posts in LinkedIn.
Go on that account like crap on LinkedIn and see all the crap and don't do those crap.
It's kind of quite interesting that I've seen even posts like somebody in a senior manager role proposing their girlfriend and posting in the LinkedIn. So it's definitely not the platform to put on. Question? Any question? Please raise.
So hi, my name is Utkarsh. I'm originally from India, but I'm studying engineering at Harvard University. So my question is about the personal branding thing. So how do you manage your mental well-being while you're in the process of, like creating your personal brand? Because at times I've seen people posting so much content, even though it has quality on different social media platforms, but then when they don't receive the views, when they don't receive the likes, they really get anxious. I think it really affects your mental state. So any advice for that?
So for me, I think I had a mindset of this one. When I put in a particular content, I simply don't care at all who are.
You're human.
Yeah, so it's maybe just the way I built on very early stage of my life, because maybe that's the way my parents the way they grow me up probably. I simply has no care how many people like you or share it. I only care about how many people actually are putting in front of the people, and what they're gonna do with that one is up to them. It's not my game. My game is about bringing content.
In fact, I have exactly the same opinion. I even never looked how many people read it or not. Even if someone comments, very rare I answer to the comments. I don't care. I don't care. What I care, yes, I believe that too many is not good. Which means that if I would publish something, first I need to start thinking, is this relevant or not? That's the first question. And secondly, also, I don't want to publish every day. That does not make sense. Because it's too much. Because at the end of the day, for instance, in my case, in LinkedIn, I don't know how many people I have it, but it's substantial already. Yeah? Which means that if I publish rubbish every day, they come to a point that they don't want to read it anymore. As I have the same feeling. Someone is always publishing, so should be relevant. Quantity doesn't matter. I publish when I have something to share. If I don't have, I don't publish.
So I told you the thing I don't care at all. But there is the other part, which is keep me still human.
Oh, yeah?
I care. The care is this part, is this one. Am I giving value to my viewers? The content I'm putting into it, that's giving value of my viewers or not? Is it really matters to them? And I care about how I can give more better values in my upcoming post. So what I do is, So just to make sure that the content what I'm creating right now doesn't matter for my viewers. And every 2-3 months I just look back and see that the content I have created, what are the things I have done well and what are the things I have not done well at all. I'm gonna work on that. So these are the part I care a lot and that keep me really human, still not robot yet. And one more thing you also bringing about is about, that's why the 3 things I mentioned are honest, authentic, and passionate. Being passionate is so important because you gotta be passionate about it because it's not gonna be your month's game, it's gonna be your game. So if you're not passionate into it, and you will not going to be able to do it for a long period of time. And last thing, this is where it very matter most is about a lot of people think, oh, I'm gonna hustle, I'm gonna make a lot of things, I'm gonna be the hardest man. But I just don't like to be the hardest man. I also I want to work smart too. So you need to have a balance of work hard and work smart as well too. Because I mean, if you've been, because we've been parenting, I'm hearing the stories about the story of the turtle and the rabbit lost because the turtle did not give up, but it's still a turtle. But in the game, there is another animal who is also in the race, it's a dog who doesn't give up and also smart. Definitely will beat every one of them. So
I also would like to share. I have one conflict right now regarding to publish or not publish, because unfortunately, I have a company position, which means that I cannot publish all my thoughts because if I publish, I'm the CEO of the company, and this is something that is difficult to manage. Sometimes I really want to say something, and I'm afraid to write it down because I have a corporate position, even if the LinkedIn account is my own account. And this is something that also you need to take into consideration. Be careful when you publish your own opinion, nothing wrong on that, but you are, unfortunately or fortunately, you are also part of the company where you work. Of course, this is more valid. If you have higher position, it's even worse. I cannot say what I want because I'm the general manager here, so at the end of the day, I'm putting the company on the spot too.
Yeah.
And this is difficult, I want to share because for me, it has been very difficult to balance that. To be honest, most of the time that I really feel the need to write something that is more personal, I don't do it. Because of that, because I'm always afraid to be misunderstood.
So may I add a few things? First of all, right, we have to, every one of us have this innate urge that we want to be like and interactive with our content. But at the same time, all the algorithm of social media, they're not designed like that. They're designed for popularity. So that means if you have some content that is more popular, let's say you take off your clothes and post naked, you get a break. I mean, usually you'll be a star on Instagram. But so social media, in a way, is designed in a very weird way. They keep changing, but most of the time, social media is designed for popularity. So the more you get interaction, the more your content will be reach more people, and then you have more interaction. So usually, when you have quality content, it doesn't go that way. When you have quality content, only a few people would like and read that content, and then it doesn't feed into that popularity of the social media. You have to understand how it's designed. So don't take it personally when your content is not being interacted because that algorithm is not being fair with you. It's better that you take off your clothes and post naked.
But popularity will come with the quality, but takes longer.
Yes. So in the beginning, if your network is small, you don't have a lot of followers or friends on the network, your content putting out there will get a lot. But if you keep doing it, at one point, it will hit a point where suddenly something will get out there, right? And then you get a lot of more connection. And we don't know how long, but the consistency is very important in terms of you have to post regularly and you have to be relevant and be
relevant.
And you have to speak your own voice. You cannot just copy someone else.
Authentic.
So you speak your own voice and speak different angles of your view. For example, you care about environment. If you post something about environment, maybe no one cares right now in your network, but doesn't mean that you shouldn't post about it. Or if you care about human rights, then keep posting about it. If you care about mental health at work, then you keep posting about it. It's okay that no one actually, or not no one, but these are people actually interact with it. But be sure that the few people interact with it, you really appreciate it. Like, it's not always about numbers game. Sometimes it's very small audience, but it's very high quality audience. It's results. And also another thing is I treat content as experiments. Right? So eventually I don't take it personally. Sometimes I still do. I'm still a human. But treat it as experiment and put many experiments out there and collect the results. So on social media you see the interaction, you know the result. And sometimes people comment, and sometimes people even email you or message you personally, so you know the interaction with your audience. And different content have different kind of reception, and that's fine. And again, before I talked about treating as sales as well. Like you don't expect all your customers buying your product. 100% potential customer buying your product. There's no way. 10%, 20%, 30% of the customers when you present the product, so they buy your product. That's amazing result. So yeah, so with that kind of approach, eventually you just take yourself out of all this noise of being liked and being popular.
Appreciated everything.
So even the algorithm is really about play the popularity thing. So what I have learned on this one in life is not about a popularity contest. It's about putting value out there, and that's the thing I focused about. So we actually quite overrun time. So probably we'll take one more question I would like to take. Please, who wants to do it? I'm gonna give you this. You asked already. Sorry. Please,
How about Twitter?
I don't know, Peter. I don't use it. How about you?
So, if you want to know more about the Twitter, I would love to share with you about this one. I actually use Twitter. I didn't use Twitter in the early stage, but last 1.5 years I started to use Twitter. So the Twitter is a completely different game of other Facebook platforms, so Facebook or Instagram or thing. Twitter is like a cocktail party of people where people come in and talk about something. But the thing I want to talk about this one is that Twitter is it's a great platform to having the small talks, and it's very much about personalized content. So you may see that there's a lot of people getting trashed because of their comments in Twitter. Even you can bring up the U.S. president is one of them as well too, because he's probably one of the champion on that one too. But it actually helped him to become very popular as well too. And that's why a lot of people talk about him all the time, and that's something he wanted to have around him as what he does in his life as a politician. Twitter is a great platform as well too. If you wanna go for a quick gain in social media, I wanna tell you this one about the algorithm. Algorithm works for the people who already have some sort of personal brand. If you don't have any personal brand right now in a professional or not in level yet, if you start to go and build a Twitter, it will be very difficult right now in 2020 because the platform is quite content savvy and content rich already for the users, because you globe all over the world, right? So if you go to North America and Europe, this platform is widely used, but when you are in Vietnam and if you're trying to build a Twitter and get a lot of followers, it will be significantly more difficult compared to other people. Yeah. And the second thing is about there's a lot of people just will not want to follow even if you put a great content into it, because first of all they're not using it, so they're not seeing your content, and secondly is about probably the way that the Twitter is about the cocktail parties and bring the small conversation. It's not really goes with South Asian culture as well too. So that's why this platform never grown. But the thing is not happening today, will not gonna happen in the next 2, 3, 5 years of time. So if you wanted to play a long-term game, you can start to put it on. So that's something I choose. That's why I created my Twitter account 1.5 years ago, and I started to put some content over there.
Actually, it's true. When some social network is new, you have a lot of advantage. When it's already established and it's mature, having a new account is very difficult. So maybe I should try Twitter too.
Twitter is
Start TikTok, eh?
So for example, if you start Instagram in 2012, 2011, you have
Tons of
followers just like doing nothing, right? Don't even put in effort, just post some weird stuff on that. But now to get followers on Instagram is a tough game, really tough. Same thing with Facebook. Before, when you have a Facebook page, a public page,
thousands of followers
you
you
get
get.
natural organic flow is so fast, and now forget about it.
I have one question to you, John.
Okay,
Maybe you can support on it. when you receive invitation of LinkedIn, what do? You accept by default, you reject by default, or you check by default? Because I have this question.
Thank you for bringing up this question. Actually, I have seen more across the professional network, people start to seeing a connection request with a lot of egos about this one, and they start to look at the positions and started to look at what the person does, and generally they reject the connection request. For me, what I have learned in my life is this one: if somebody want to connect with me, send me a connection request, means this person probably want to be my friend, or wanted to join my networks, or wanted to need some help. So why am I in the LinkedIn platform? So this is where the first thing I was answering with you. Why am I in? Because I told you the reason I'm in the LinkedIn because I want to help other professionals and the companies to achieve their goals. So for me, I see that every LinkedIn connection request is actually an invitation to become my friend.
You want to know what I do?
So you accept everyone?
I won't tell you. I'll let you finish this and then I will answer. So what I do, when there is as soon as a connection request, what I do, I go through every request and open their page and see is there a complete profile or not. Is there a proper photo? If there's a dog photo, I'll not. I mean, this person is probably so insecure, a dog. For a cat photo, I'm not be interested, because I don't think that a dog or a cat can be really working in a corporate or companies to add any value to the industry. So as soon as there is a proper photos and proper names and proper context, and at least a student, no problem. If it's a professional, put there what they're doing in, I will accept. And most of the time, if I pay attention to their taglines. If you see this one, the person has a looking for new opportunities. In this situation, most of the time I go and inbox them first. Hey, what kind of opportunity are you looking for? I will probably connect you with the right person. That's what I do. I think that every LinkedIn in connection with the proper profile is an invitation to my friend. And why I'm not be a friend if I can help and values?
I have more or less the same approach with some exceptions. Of course, I always look internally. Exceptions, if it is direct competitors, sometimes I don't accept.
Okay.
Okay, because they can. I understand they can spice things that I not necessarily I want that they know everything that I do.
Okay.
So which means that sometimes I refuse. And if the request comes, this is probably not, let's say, it's not polite to say, but I will share with you. If the request comes for a very strange country or situation, sometimes I don't accept because I'm afraid.
Okay. Yes. Everybody has fear, right?
No,
Yeah.
just because and this is about your digital presence. Is there? So which means if you have some strange connections, maybe it's not good for you. Yeah?
Everybody looking. If you want to be applying for a US visa, they're going to see what's in this
Yes,
profile.
that's why. I give a recent example. I received, for instance, a request, and it was a Siemens colleague from Iran,
Okay.
and I decided not to accept. Just because of that.
Even Siemens.
Even Siemens, because you don't know. Then I need to go to the States for working, and I may have a problem. Just because of that, which is quite unfair. To be honest, I'm really not exclude any country for any reason. But that's the only concern. In general, yes, I accept everybody, and if they are students, I don't care. It's important.
All right, I really want to take more questions, guys, gentlemen, and we are like overrunning the time. Do you really have some burning question? Can raise the hand. I can take this one. Oh, sorry, we have to. Okay, one last question. Sorry, Lynn. We've already taken question.
But they are really burning.
Okay, so go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay,
Choose more.
I'm Leon from France. So we talk about different platforms. You talk about LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, etc. Do you have any feedback from focusing on one and ready to kind of become the number one, either than kind of blasting, and from maybe a YouTube video you're gonna extract and make some quotes that you publish on Instagram, hire a VA to maybe do some quotes on, I don't know, Facebook, and kind of try to blast and be maybe more visible with less quality content, but maybe spreading more, rather than being focused on one and And in terms of ROI, I'm talking more in terms of how many times you involve into the platform and fitting the native content of the platform. As you say, like Instagram is more daily stories, stuff like this, rather than you cannot put on LinkedIn. So trying to first effort first to build native and relevant content of each platform, rather than focusing on one and trying to be the kind of having more impact.
That's a great question. Thank you. Thank you. So for me, it's a lot of people thinking about quality, and I absolutely agree with this. And quality is more important than the quantity. But if you can do quality content over scale and with the quality, you're gonna dominate. It's that what it is. So I think that in this present industry, somebody already become a manager in their role or become an entrepreneur, building some kind of business already, definitely has a financial capability to have a proper VA work with them and work with those all platform right now. Why I will tell you this one? Because all this platform right now still giving a lot of organic reach or those are still free. But these are the thing right now. But in future, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram will not be the thing anymore. This will be replaced by something else. So if you're not using these movements by using the best quality and having a proper VA, and you already have a financial capability because you're already a manager or something in your career already. So my suggestion will be yes, go for it and build the personalized content. And so I will give you some of the trick. So I do LinkedIn, all the platform. I run podcasts. I run the social media live shows as well. I have this gentleman in this live shows as well too. So what I have done, so I do video podcast and extract them the audio. I put an audio podcast. The same. So I do the YouTube content and I then cut into those pieces of the YouTube content to small pieces and put it on Instagrams and other places, and even you put it in Facebook stories. So that is the way. I not only work alone, I also have someone to work with me to do this one as well. So, and that's something we also have as a help in our VSHR Pro Academy. It's called Eco Brand. Could help you as well. So I would like to suggest you to have a chat with Miss Lay, and we're sitting behind. She can give you more advice and give you more help too. So content quality definitely very important. But if you could do it with scale, with the quantity, with the quality content, definitely going to win.
I have one tip: play with the languages.
Awesome.
If you want to target your audience, and I do it here in Vietnam, sometimes I publish in Vietnamese. Of course,
Yeah.
I ask someone to translate it. But it makes a difference. The level of the quantity of people that will look for that is different. And also, mostly by default, I publish in English, but sometimes I publish in Spanish too, because I'm fluent in Spanish. So it depends what you want. You need to think what you want to reach, and then play the game of the language makes a difference.
Absolutely spot on this one, Pedro. So what I do, even I do the speech in YouTube, or let's say about 3 weeks before I did a TED Talk, I was giving a speech. So the TED Talk has a video, right? So video content, and then it's translated to an audio content, a text content in a text in English, and then subtitle of course is very important to translate to a text content which goes to my blog, and then translate to Vietnamese and goes to other blog as well too, and then using all this content to social media as well. So if you are going for a global scale, I mean, if you already have some sort of level already, and then yes, you have. But it's very matter is what level you are in. If you are in Vietnam and if you're start to build this one, maybe Vietnamese and English would be the thing.
Maybe Vietnam to publish in French makes a difference.
Yeah.
Because there are a big French community.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you can target
Yeah.
the French community as
So
well.
you reach certain people. You are selecting the audience by default.
Are you building this for your personal brand or for your company's brand?
Yeah, I mean, it's mixed. It's like my company, but now everyone is talking about personal branding. I even have some partners, they're working for like top companies, and they're having their own websites under their own name.
Yeah.
Of course, there is the logo of the company, but now everyone, all C-levels, start to also publish some content. So I think like small entrepreneur should do that.
Yeah, but this game of the language makes a difference. Even when I'm reading myself, of course, like I'm able to read in French, in English, in Spanish, in Portuguese, and probably sometimes I'm more attractive because it is in French and I will read it. So it makes a difference. It's a kind of filter.
I suggest if you're starting, you should start on one platform first and learn how to really use a platform, and But to identify which one you're dedicated to, where your audience is. So let's say if you're selling lifestyle products, and probably Instagram and Facebook. But if you are selling B2B product, as John mentioned earlier, then LinkedIn is definitely, you don't sell B2B product on Instagram, like very rarely. So identify where your audience is, and start with one, and then start, and then after you're very comfortable with one platform, and you spread it to the other platform. And as John mentioned, there's a lot of content that can be multi-platform. That means you can transfer the same, you can convert the same content just to different formats to put it on different platforms. But to build the audience, it's not about content. Building audience has so many tactics and things you have to do, and sometimes you have to put a full-time person just to manage it. So if you're one person and you haven't had a team to manage social media stuff, probably LinkedIn, I don't know, depends on the business. But if you want to grow as a business, then eventually you have to bring in at least one person to help you manage it. It's just a lot of work. Yeah, but when you bring in the right person who know how to manage the platforms, your business will grow very well. So for us, for VSHR, we started we started Instagram like 9 months ago, 0, now we have 60,000 followers. But we don't post our articles on there. We post the same article, we choose a very specific piece of content, and then we make it into a video, image, and sometimes a video, and then we put it on there. So it's like different platforms require different tactics, and you need someone to take care of it.
I have a challenge for the audience.
Yeah.
Just prepare your LinkedIn properly and invite us.
Yes, please
I'm not
do.
saying that mine is not perfect, by the way. Yeah. But do it. Let's
Okay,
try.
let's connect after this.
Yes.
This is a perfect event. This is so close.
Why not?
There's nothing-
At least we know each other in person.
Yeah, it's more personalized. That was the event. Rather than doing a big event, we wanted to do an event which is more people are connected into it and close to each other and can learn really more about each other as well too.